Yo, 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 what is up, you guys? It is your boy, HamzaConnection, coming at you live. Well, today I want to talk about the importance of verifying information. And this is a pretty critical topic, and one topic that I have actually failed quite a lot on. Because, like, you often hear something from an expert, like, oh, you're supposed to do this and this and that. But how many times do you actually take what the expert is saying and actually verify it yourself? It's funny, like, for instance, people tend to read, like, and including me, myself as well, they tend to read, like, scientific articles. And then you sort of get into the notion, like, oh, okay, so this article says this, and then I trust that article because the article says so. But the article could be false. Like, they probably know a little bit better than you do, but maybe they could be wrong. Because think about it like this: there was a time in human history where we believed that the earth was flat, and now we know that it's round. But still, like, that came from, like, authority figures that actually told you, like, the earth was flat. Now think about it, like, back then it seemed like the most common most common thing to know, like, oh, of course the earth is flat and all of this stuff, because people just blindly trusted authority. And the same thing goes with, like, with a lot of stuff, actually. And this is the most important thing, and this is building on the last episodes that I did, where I talk about that we all different, and different things works for different people. What may work for me may not work for you, and stuff like that. And this is the reason why it's super, super important to as well verify information. Because, like, let's take a training example. Like, I go up and train, and they tell you that this is the optimal set and reps and all of this stuff that you have to do. But what if your body responds differently than somebody else's? And that's why, if you want to build the most optimal thing for you, or also, like, in sales and everything, then you better go ahead and take what the expert is saying and verify it for yourself. A really good example was that I've been trying, like, last year I did intermittent fasting, and I fasted more days than I ate that year. Did intermittent fasting. It was like a 16 to 8, so 16 hours where I didn't eat and 8 hours where I did eat. I threw a couple of 1 day, 2 days fast and stuff like that in there sometimes. But the thing I noticed was that when I read the articles and stuff like that about how beneficial the intermittent fasting is, I actually started to experience some of the effects when I experienced it in my own body. So now I know, like, this works. And maybe, like, right now I'm telling you, oh, intermittent fasting works. But what if it doesn't work for your body? And then you're, like, listening to me because, oh yeah, I did intermittent fasting for so long and stuff like that, and I'm telling you it works. No, you have to take what I am saying and actually go ahead and verify it for yourself, because that is the only way you know that it's true. You cannot know that it's true when I tell you about it, because I could be lying, I could be trying to sell you stuff, or I could just be confused, or it could be something totally different in my diet that I didn't see that improved me and gave me all of these health benefits that I got from intermittent fasting. So that's the reason why, like, you sort of have to verify your own information, and especially verifying things on your own body. Like, don't just take things that are, like, commonly held. Like, for instance, oh yeah, you're taught in school to go, and this is like a notion coming from an entrepreneur, that, like, you're taught to go in school and work the hours. Like, go ahead, go in school, get the education, and get a job afterwards. And how are you paid from your job? You're paid on an hourly rate. Well, if you ask an entrepreneur, he would say that's a fool's game, because trading money for time is a fool's game, because there's only 24 hours in a day. So let's say you earn $10 an hour. Well, you can only earn $240 in a day. If you trade your time for money, yeah, you can get an increase in sales and all of this stuff. But here's the thing: the richest people in the world, they actually go against what most people in this world are doing, because it's a commonly held belief that, like, oh, this is how it works. And the richest people actually don't trade their time for money. And that's a funny notion of it, that they don't do that, and yet they are some of the richest people on earth. So that just goes to show you, like, this is just like one example that goes to show you that even though this is a commonly held belief and most people are trading their time for money, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to trade your time for money. Not at least if you want to get rich. And you can probably find outliers in this. This is just like an example trying to illustrate the point here. But basically, question commonly held belief. And sometimes also your own belief. Like, you can be like, I am super insecure about this and this and that. But why? Why would you be insecure about that? Like, question that belief. Like, where does that belief come from? Like, where does this belief come from and all of that stuff? And really start delving deep, and you will actually find some funny things and be like, what? Why am I insecure when I'm around my boss, for instance? Oh, is it because you feel inferior? Oh, you're supposed to be quiet. You're supposed to be this. But you can also realize that, for instance, your boss is just another human being. Like, he's a regular dude or girl like you. So basically, there is nothing different from that. But if you don't question the belief, and if you just take what everybody else is doing and do the same thing, you will never realize some of these things. And that's why even the stuff that I'm telling you now, I want you to go ahead and go and verify it. So for instance, I made like this episode about first things first, prioritizing all of this stuff. Well, the reason why I'm telling you this is because it's not because I read about it, but because I actually did it. I actually saw on my Trello board and how I should prioritize things, and I actually started seeing results in my life when I started implementing that system that I talk about in that episode. But the important thing here is, don't take my word for it. Just go ahead and verify it. And this can get kind of crazy, because from the critics that are super analytical and in their head, they will then just start questioning everything. And that would lead to not taking any action at all. Like, oh, but what if this is not true? What if this is true? What if that is true? And all that stuff. So take this with a grain of salt, because you are a human being, most likely listening to this, and you have limited time on this earth. So question the things that might get you somewhere. Because, for instance, if you really want to know if the earth is round or flat, then you basically have to travel in a space rocket and then see from outer space like that. If you really want to verify that, and if you really want to verify that, oh yeah, we actually sent some things up in the moon, it's not enough to watch a video clip. You should like go up there. But the thing here is, there are some things that you're probably not going to verify in your lifetime. But there are many things that you can question and stuff like that. For instance, like the religion you grew up in, the household rules, the society rules, and all of that stuff. Like, all of these things you can question, and then basically start to understand, where are these guys coming from when they're doing this, and that? And why are people doing the things that they're doing? And most likely you will find out that most people, including myself in many areas, they're just doing those things because that's what everybody else is doing. Because nobody questioned why we're doing X, Y, Z. And that's the thing. Like, it's very few people that questions these things. Like, for instance, you have to go to school and all this stuff. There are many, many people out there that still believes that you have to go to school in order to be successful in life. And there's a ton of people that hasn't gone to school or dropped out of school and all this stuff that is super successful, or you have to have like a highly educated education in order to become something. Like, a really good example, like the firm that I'm working at currently, their CEO, he told me that he doesn't have the highest education. He in fact told me, like, okay, 8 out of 10 people you see walk out here, they have a higher education than me. And that made me think, like, whoa, shit. Like, made me question that belief about, okay, so I have to study to become successful? No. You don't necessarily have to study in school to become successful. And many of these things will give you huge revelations. And some of the things you can just try it out and see if it works. That would be like the best advice that I can give you. Go ahead, try the things, see if it works. If the rule doesn't make sense, ask why the rule is in place. And if people are just following the rules, they would not be able to answer why you're doing this and why they're doing this and why they're doing that. And that's the thing. it's just because, no, that's not a good enough answer. Like, delve deep into it and verify the information that you're given. So if you read something about the internet, about a breathing exercise that's supposed to help and all of that, go ahead, try it, because that's the only way you will see if it works. That's how I found intermittent fasting. That's how I found like Wim Hof breathing methods. Like I went over, I tried it, and I saw the effect that it had on my body, and it was pretty cool. So that's why I am a huge advocate of some of those things that I'm preaching to you guys. And it's because I am actually trying them, but don't take my word for it. I want you to go ahead and verify some of that information for yourself. So what I want you guys to do, after, of course, you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and leave me a comment down below, I want you to leave me a comment down below telling me what sort of information or commonly held belief that you wish to verify and what the verification was when you verified that information. I gave you a couple of mine, so hope this episode was insightful for you. And if it was, you know what to do. It was your boy, HamzaConnection. Peace.